Hi, and welcome to the channel. I'm Lann. One of the things that I want to talk a little bit about this morning that we don't see a lot of on YouTube, or I haven't been able to find in my searching when I really started into livestock, was when's the best time to breed your sheep or your goats, really your smaller animals, livestock, on a farm. A lot of the guys like Greg Judy and some other farmers out west, they're big on holding off and doing the breeding, holding your ram off and doing the breeding late so that you can have it later on in the spring and May when the frost and the cold weather has gone away. And I think that really applies in areas that have hard winters. But here in the South, we don't really have winters that are that bad. Now, I'm in Northwest Alabama. I'm in Zone 7. Very good for me because that's Zone 7 in Virginia is where I was raised, so I was able to adapt fairly quickly when we moved here from Atlanta. But one of the problems that I started having was I was listening to people out on YouTube years and years ago, and I was following a Midwestern or a Western philosophy, and that is to keep the ram out, bring the ram in and introduce it later in the fall. And then again, you have your babies, your lambs, your kids, whatever, in May, and you don't have to worry about them freezing to death out in the field. We kind of have the opposite here, and that is fire ants. Little history. I'll use a little bit of my history degree. Long story short, during World War I, fire ants came in through Mobile Bay, Alabama, and they were using the sand in South America and scooping it off and putting it in cargo ships for fruits and vegetables to ship up here. And they were using the sand to ballast out the ship. When they got to Mobile Bay, they dumped the sand, fire ants were in it, here we go. Now, I had never seen a fire ant until I moved to Atlanta. And I don't know how in the world, if I would have been raised in this area between deer flies and fire ants, I think I probably would have moved north. Probably, yes, I probably would have. So it's important when you're looking at your sheep in the South, I don't separate my ram. And there's some really great videos out there that talk about comparisons and, hey, look, if you leave it in, there's a chance you're not going to have as many twins. You're going to have more singles. I agree and disagree with that. I think that if you kind of do a hybrid of the two and you bring in your ram and your sheep together when you kind of see romance in the air in the field, and you put them in a field, something like we had back here. This has been sorghum Sudan grass that's been just completely demolished. But when you start to see the romance in the air in the field, you bring them into and you do what we call flushing, and that is when they really are on a really nice fibrous, high nutritional diet. Kind of gets the estrogen going. It's kind of like putting Sinatra on. You start, getting in the mood, and you can have more sheep. I'm trying that this year. I tried a little bit last year, but not quite with something as nice as this. But I would say that if you have sheep or goats in the South, you really need to let them breed earlier than later. So I really like mine breeding about this time, and they have been. So what that's going to be is, you've got your 150 days. So you're looking at, September, October, November, December, January. So January 20th, I saw a little love going on this morning. January 20th, till the end of February, I'm hoping to start having babies. Now, in Alabama, I'm not talking about South. A lot of people know of LA, lower Alabama. I'm speaking of Northwest for where I'm at. February, late January and February are still cold, but it's not Missouri cold and it's not Montana cold. So you can actually have babies up here, and it is a benefit because if you don't, you run into what I did and you have them too late in the season. The fire ants are in full effect. They've come out and they have a young baby. Maybe she's struggling. Maybe we've got her in the corral and we're watching her. I'm at work. I have a full-time job. I'm at work. I come home and she's accidentally laid over and fire ants have gotten on her and killed her. You also have any type of afterbirth, anything at all that is left out that the sheep don't take care of. The fire ants are going to go right to that. So to me, I think that it's a big disadvantage to watch any videos that are not in your region of livestock. I have come up here and had a baby sheep that we nursed that was just very malnutritious. I don't even know if she would have made it, but she was laying down, and she didn't make it, and she was covered with fire ants. And I can tell you from stepping in them, stepping in a mound, that it's not a good time. So it hurts humans to be bit, no doubt. So imagine being a small little 5-pound sheep right out of the womb and getting bit. Now let me say this when speaking of fire ants. Just because that doesn't work for me here doesn't mean that it wouldn't work for everybody. I don't put any chemicals, as you all have heard me say in other videos, I don't put any chemicals or pesticides or herbicides or anything down on my pastures. So, you know, if you're running like I think it's a triazonon, a triazicide, it's something, it's in a black bag with really cool green lettering that you can get at Walmart and Home Depot. That stuff works, okay? And so I do have friends that have sheep, and they will go and they will spread that all around their barn, and that'll kill out any termites, maybe in a wooden barn, or that kills out any fire ants or ant lines or anything you don't want around it, any mites if you've got chickens, and that stuff works great. I've tried diatomaceous earth. I'm sure somebody's going to say something about that. I cannot get a value add out of diatomaceous earth at all. I've put it on my feed, you know, for parasitic worms. I've put it down in my chicken coop. I put it everywhere. I can't get a result. That's not saying you're not. I'm just saying it doesn't work. So I'm trying to just think of things that you know, you may have tried that may work for you. The triazonon or triazicide, whatever it's called, it works. But the problem that you have with that, especially with me, I'm doing regenerative farming, so it's killing every worm. It's killing every microorganism in the ground. Now, if you've got armadillos, you're out in Texas, or you know, even here we've got armadillos. It's great for that because it kills the grub worms. It also cuts down on your Japanese beetle supply because their larvae is in the ground. But going back to the, you know, really to the fire ants, you really don't want to have a small animal. Calves, I'm sure, are different. But if you have a small lamb, you have a small goat that maybe is born, you don't have time to get up there. I'm not going to complain about this rain if you can't see it. We haven't had it forever. If you don't get up there and get that animal, and you're not able, and you're 100% full-time and can sit up at that barn on a weekday and take care of it, there's a chance the fire ants will get it. And when it does, you're in trouble. You're not going to bring it back from that. And then you've got 5 months of, you know, taking care of this lamb, or excuse me, taking care of this mother ewe that's down the drain, and you've lost money on a resale, or maybe a processing that you're going to do, you know, stuff at the market you're going to do. So keep that in mind. But just always, when you're looking at these videos, pay attention to where these people are. I was fooled. You know, I thought, okay, well, you're in Missouri, you're telling me to do this, I'm going to follow this stringent plan, and then things don't always work out. So keep that in mind. Hope this is helpful to you guys. If you have any questions, put them in the link below. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Give me a thumbs up. We'll talk soon. Thanks.